Grab Bag, a collection of newspaper columns by James H. Jones from the 1970s and 1980s. Back in 1910, Edward L. Stratemeyer, writing under the name Victor Appleton, seized on a success recipe that is still rolling. First in his series of literary triumphs was Tom Swift and his airship, followed the same year by Tom Swift and his electric runabout, and Tom Swift and his motorboat. When he wasn't manipulating the doughty young Master Tom through a succession of dangling from the cliff by the fingernails incidents, his time was put to productive use, turning out such equally well-received offerings as the Bobbsey Twins, Nancy Drew, and the Rover Boys, all heroes clean of heart and uncompromisingly fearless. When Mr. Stratemeyer went to his final last adventure, daughters Harriet and Edna picked up the fallen banner and continued the tradition by cranking out such gems as Tom Swift and his atomic earthbreaker, Tom Swift and his diving seacopter, Tom Swift and his giant robot, and Tom Swift and his ultrasonic cycloplane. The Stratemeyer Syndicate, which ground out a total 56 books in the TS series for an eager audience, apparently believed firmly in sticking with the proven formula in both title treatment and basic plot format. Tom and the people who made up his world hardly ever simply said things. They expostulated vehemently, interposed nervously, or inquired fixedly, and hereby evolved the zany little word game known as Tom Swifties. The premise, of course, is the double-take pun in the Stratemeyer style. For instance, "I don't see any steamroller coming," said Tom flatly. Or, "My mother said I should keep away from the electric fan," said Tom offhandedly. Having ventured this far, why not have a brief go at a few more? "I stayed in the sun too long," said Tom heatedly. "I'm afraid I've torn my trousers," Tom said breezily. "I'll get the paper for you," called Tom fetchingly. "I believe I'll have a hot dog," said Tom frankly. "I know I'm a bit cross-eyed," he replied, visibly moved. "I stayed away from school today," remarked Tom absently. "I just drank some phosphorescent paint," Tom said lightly. "I'm being accompanied by a hired killer," he said with deadly earnest. "I'm out for my evening walk," he said stridently. "I've got a stone in my shoe," he remarked limply. "Looks like we'll have to bury him," said Tom gravely. "I've always resented George deeply," he answered grudgingly. "I purchased some new underwear," he said briefly. "My clock wakes me up each morning," Tom said with alarm. "I'm leaving you here alone," he said with abandon. "I hate everything military," he remarked with general disgust. "I've just gone to live in an old well," he replied, deeply moved. "I'm afraid the lantern has gone out," he said delightedly. "I've just returned from the fruit market," he said with aplomb. "Those thugs put a detonated grenade in my pocket," he said, breaking up. "I'm not a very good singer," he intoned sharply. "I'd like a table for two," he said with reservations. Now, I, for one, would certainly like to pay homage to Mr. Stratemeyer/Appleton. If it hadn't been for his embroidered verbiage, there'd be a heck of a hole in this space this week. Tiger manager Ralph Houck proclaims that his pitchers are ready to go. The way most of them pitched in spring training, you gotta believe some of them will too.